Who's ready? Who's ready? Who's ready for some boom, baby, boom, rise and shine? We're in Finland time, and yesterday I was made aware that there are Finland police and they can put their hands on me. I've said it once and I'll say it again. I don't want to be talking to police and I don't want them touching me. And yesterday was a little too exciting, a little reminder of how close it is to being in different countries. The reason why I created Joint Weed Club is so everybody knows the laws. And apparently, I got too cavalier with my smoking, and I almost got arrested yesterday. That's not a lie. Like, they literally grabbed me, took my bag, searched everything, and even with my Joint Weed Club shirt, I still got away with it. And if it wasn't for those meddlesome kids, I would have got further. Let's go, Saints Addiction. So I call it Saints Addiction for a reason. Obviously, if I didn't smoke weed every morning and, if I had other drugs on me, I would have definitely been in trouble yesterday. All I had was my tobacco on me, this little case, but even them, they were searching that. And I was close to being deported, if I'm not mistaken. I'm on overstay here in Finland, trying to enjoy what's left of this sunshine. And they searched me, bro. They straight grabbed me. We were almost out. We're sitting there at the park where we normally park and spark. And yeah, there's some kids over there, but didn't think nothing of it. And yeah, my friend warned me, but didn't think nothing of it. And they thought a lot of it. So I waited around for my friend. They're like, "You gonna come get your can?" Kind of one of those things. And my buddy went and grabbed the can. I'm waiting for him. As I go to turn around, you know what I'm saying? I get the long arm of the law, and then they were searching everything on me. They searched my pockets, took my backpack. Luckily I didn't have anything on me. They did keep one of these. I have like an empty canister, that I have for other things, and it used to have weed in it, and it was just like keef in it, but that fucked them all up. And they're like, "You just smell like weed smoke." And as they came around the corner, I'm snuffing it out, making sure that disappears. But the reason I'm having this conversation is not only did they let me go and they didn't check my paperwork, because it would have been a whole host of bigger problems. I would have probably got deported, you know what I mean? And probably I'm supposed to be going to Vietnam with my team. It would have fucked up a lot of things for me. And that just sucks because I'm just smoking weed. Kind of like my buddy's little post this morning, that cartoons is like everybody smoking weed. Well, Finland's got a big problem with alpha PPV. Now, Perku, I want to say it. My Finnish isn't that good, but these people are tweaking out. Like, this is on the level of fentanyl or, I don't even know, Waka Flocka. Like, people are fucked up. And they're really like, it's a version of methamphetamines that a lot of people are doing here in Finland, and it's scary. Like, they're running around like fucking, there goes my paper. Oh yeah, there we go. They're running around here yelling at people, thrashing about, making a bunch of noise. Like, it's a scary fucking drug. And I look around, like I saw the other day, I was walking, and there was a broken glass crack pipe right by my foot. Like, I like to get grounded, take my feet off and get grounded, and maybe I should just do that because it fucking stressed me out. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because you can live a life, and we all do, in paranoia, which will destroy you, right? We can live a life where, what is it? Yeah, there. Where we freak the fuck out, and let me get my feet in the wet dew of the grass, and not be paranoid and not look over my shoulder and not think that the cops are out to get me, or I'm on the radar, or they know me, or I could be deported at any moment. That doesn't make me feel very secure inside. And you have to ask inside your mind, are you going to allow your mind, because I'm obviously not arrested, right? I'm obviously outside the sweet air. I'm so grateful that it didn't go there, but it almost went there. I mean, they had full on grabbed me, and they're like, "You got anything sharp in your pockets?" And luckily I didn't have anything on me, but when I go to smoke my weed, my buddy had just passed me a joint, and they were on his side of the bush, and they could easily grabbed him. And I think my friends were kind of buzzed, and they're like, "Hey, just don't let it get to you." But they've never been arrested in multiple countries like me. You know what I mean? I've already created Join Weed Club because I was already arrested in South Korean prison. I've already did time in Ensenada prison, and it's so kind of weird to have these conversations like, "Hey, I've already been to jail 3 different countries. I'm a felon in 3 different countries, right?" And I didn't know what really to. So, obviously they grabbed me like, "You smell like weed. We've been doing this for 20 years. And I just smoked," and all these other things. And they were looking for something. Like, if I would even had the smallest little nugget on me, bro, I would have gone straight to jail and had a bigger problem with Finland and my overstay and asking my papers and all these things. It luckily didn't happen that way, but it was going down for the crown yesterday. And nothing like a wake-up call on y'all to say, how free do you feel in certain countries? That's what Weed Club's all about: source and smoke safely. I felt free in Brazil when I was there till they killed my friend. Like, they actually murdered someone I used to smoke with every day. And sure, he was trying to sell coke and do his thing, and that happened that way. And there's nothing really you can do about mob mentality, especially when you're in Brazil and the cost of life is so low. No one really gives a shit. You know what I mean? They just don't. And you're talking about favelas and things like that. And then, of course, South Korea, which took the book and door out of me, because they took 3 grams so seriously. 10 fucking police there the whole day interrogating us for 10 hours over 3 grams of weed. You can't be serious. And now they have a medical marijuana. 10 years later, they have a medical marijuana program. But to sweat us, the weed smokers, the ones that are just chilling in the park, maybe I thought they were like, "Yeah, just go down to that other park and smoke. Just stay away from the kids." I thought it was good enough. But then it came the heavy hand of the law grabbing my ass and start searching me. Now you're not free anymore, which is against Saints addiction all the way. You're not free enough to go where you want to go, smoke where you want to go, as long as you don't hurt nobody. That's my anarchy philosophy. And yeah, they grabbed the dude. Like, I was already gone, and I could have took off. My homie took off for sure. He had weed on him, but my other buddy stuck around to make sure and translate what was going on. I'm so grateful for him, because if I was left alone, kind of like being like in the herd, if you get separated from the herd, the wolves will eat you. And that's what I think of when I think of police and these wolves that try to kill the fun. All they needed to do was a warning, but that wasn't enough. And then when we had pieced out, everybody kind of grabbed their shit. We were about to take off. They made my homeboy come back and grab the can. That wasn't enough. Then they grabbed me. And I'm like super beardy, definitely got different skin. And I don't think people understand how weird it is, especially when you're not from a country, when you're just a foreigner in someone else's land, especially if you're on overstay, just how trepidatious it is, like, I had to use that word, but it was scary there for a second. I got plans to be with my team in Vietnam here. I didn't plan on overstaying, but the weather didn't participate. And then all of a sudden I had cops holding me, touching me. And I hate that shit. I don't want to have any conversations with police. They've never gone good in my life, since my parents' domestic violence to me and my brother getting picked up because my dad was too drunk at the what do you call it, juvenile detention center. So I don't have a strong record with police, and I do have an anarchy on my head because I believe in freedom. I believe they should be going after white collar crimes. I believe they should be cracking down on the sex slave trade. I believe that there's some obvious meth labs out there, and the guys just smoking a joint in the park should be their last trouble. But they were looking for trouble. They were looking to come get me, and I don't even know. Shiva, what's up, brother? I don't know what you're writing. It says like it won't show it. Potentially inappropriate. Shivan, pro stuff. Man, I'm trying to read your messages, but it's all in Spanish, and they're holding it up for review. So it's this society trying to control people. I'm not a big fan of that, you know what I'm saying? And not having my ultimate freedom of doing what I want to do, even though, yes, he's right, shouldn't be able to be so close to the kids smoking, but it wasn't like they were right there, you know what I mean? Everybody's in the park and everybody sparks, and that's why I posted that art from my homie. Said everybody's smoking, but they had a big stick up their ass for me, and I'm sick of being the guy that gets attention like that. You know what I mean? Like, I just explained to my friend like how much action I've been through in Mexico and South Korea and in America, just constantly having a battle for my freedom. And the idea behind this isn't to bitch about it, but what's your idea of freedom? Your true freedom, ultimate freedom. Is there a country that you can go where you feel free completely? You know, they're talking about Portugal and legalizing everything and how to battle drug problems, especially in Finland and this Perkku. You know, these guys are literally got glass pipes and needles all around our shop, you know, all around, walking around the city, just start screaming. The other day we were chilling in the park and the guy comes up and goes, "Give me the water." And I'm like, my buddy just spent, he told me this, you know, he just spent €2 to get the water. It's his water, you know what I mean? I said, check it, I'll let you have some of my water, just don't put your mouth on it. And he goes, why not? And I was like, fuck you then, bro, keep it pushing. All of a sudden he slams down his fucking what do you call that, scooter boy? Slams down the scooter, starts screaming in a group of people, Veta, Vessi, you know, Veta means give me water, you know, and everybody's, you know, the guys on the microphone, there was like a movie in the park, so there was like at least a good 100 people there with their children and everything, and this dude starts screaming the fucking bloody murder and everything, and it was just like, bro, just because we didn't get you water and it's your job to get yourself water, and then they had to go get security to get him the fuck out of there, and he screamed his whole way out of there. It was a lot of drama. Everybody was just like, whoa, what the fuck is happening? And that's what it felt like yesterday. It was like, what the fuck happened? And I started reverberating, you know, chance encounters with the police in China, or, you know, the time I've been arrested in South Korea. And I was just talking about it yesterday, so it was another level for me. And my friends are like, hey, don't get paranoid. And I'm like, pretty much I feel free most of the time in Finland because there's just so much open air, so much open possibilities. And then they want to walk up the middle of the city, and I saw 3 more cop cars, and it just gave me so much anxiety. I don't feel free. I don't feel like Saint's addiction is working. I feel like it was against me, and I don't want to be paranoid. We all don't want to have fear thoughts. I talk about it all the time. See you on the other side of your fear, because everything that we want is on the other side of fear. But, you know, it's the looking over your shoulder. It's the, I could be grabbed at any time. You know, I could be searched at any time. I didn't even know they did that. I thought they would have just kind of like wagged their finger and told us to fuck off. But instead, I was about to walk away 10 meters away, and then boom, the heavy hand of the law right on my shoulder grabbed me. And now they're searching everything about me. Now I'm not a free human being. Now I got to keep my hands above my head. Now I can't do sudden movements. Now I'm not free to walk and move. And this is right in front of the girls' lemonade stand. So the whole park was watching like, oh shit, someone's about to get arrested. And if I had had any weed on me, trust and believe your boy Marky Saint would have got busted quick. And then it would have been all the way down the shit pipe. Overstay, you overstayed your visa, where's your passport, don't care if you get all your stuff, get the fuck out of our country, and maybe on my own dime to fly back to America when I'm trying to fly to Vietnam. It's a lot, and this is why I'm smoking this morning. It had me all fucked up, you know, and it's one of those things where I don't want to be paranoid. I don't want to be too cavalier, where I'm just like, yeah, weed club's here. How? Not only did I just smoke, but I had the weed club shirt on, and they searched my already vaped weed, and I still got away with it. They opened a jar that used to have weed in it and had all like, you know, just dust. It was just keef, a little bit of keef inside of it. And he looked up like he had Christmas morning, and I'm like, it's empty. That's my friend's jar. I'm returning it to him, which is the truth. But man, almost got busted yesterday, and it's a wake-up call for all of those that feel free, or maybe go to countries where it's not so legal. This is why I go to fucking Thailand. I feel way more free in Thailand than any place, anywhere. Thinking of countries out loud where I go, because it makes me feel free. It lets me feel a part of the program and not so paranoid that I gotta look over my shoulders just to have a smoke, or wait for the other foot to drop, or somebody to put handcuffs on me. I hate being touched and talked to by the cops. They never do anything. Even last time I was in Las Vegas and they kicked me out of my apartment, these motherfuckers are doing the shakedown on me, and then they just let me go. They were like, oh, you got a warrant out of Henderson, but it's old and it's a traffic warrant, so fuck all the way off. We're not even worried about it. And I'm like, but you're not helping me get back into my apartment. Yeah, that's a civil matter. We gotta go. And I'm like, then why did you push me down on the hood and pull your gun on me? It's a lot, bro. Like the shakes, you know, the insecurities, the paranoia, the amount of what do we call it? The police state. You know, the amount of involvement from the police state was a little too much, and I don't know, dude. It came too close of a call for me. It was still giving me anxiety, and it's not a good feeling to feel afraid of where I'm at, or anywhere on the planet, and just acting like I want to act. You know, some people, it's like if we were in North Korea, and then you got to pretend to cry hard for for Kim Jong Un's death or whatever. And if you don't cry enough, they'll throw you into prison, or you know, anything that's against your own free will or your religion. You know, it's like these things are just so paranoid. It's almost like my friends didn't want to go because if you go drinking in Saudi Arabia, you know what I mean, you'll get in trouble. Let's bless up. Join Weed Club. Yep. And I got to get grounded after that because it really did have me stressed out. And my friends, they're locals, they're from Finland, so it doesn't matter to them, you know, but it mattered a lot to me because I have an international team. I have things growing. I have different plans. I don't just sit and smoke. I work at night, as you guys been seeing my phone calls, and that shit almost ended so quickly over a joint that was passed to me, and 30 more seconds earlier than that, it would have been my homie, and they would have been right behind him, and he actually had weed on him, so he took off. I heard if he would have stayed around and he kept the weed on him, then we all would have been busted. But I had nothing. My homies had nothing, and luckily one of my friends stuck around and had my back so they wouldn't arrest me. But I was almost arrested yesterday by Finnish police. And that was a rude awakening of how free I feel, or how cavalier I am with my attitude, or what I do when I'm out in the world. And, you know, I created Weed Club so people can source and smoke safely, so we could share this information that after someone gets busted in a park, maybe not go to that park. You know what I mean? There's cops over there, and that's just like insider. I call it insider information, like if we were selling stocks, but stoner information that we should all share and be like, yo, the cops are heavy over here, or you don't want to do that. Or, and my friend, to his credit, he said, let's go smoke in Apple Park, and I just ignored him because I was sick of him telling us what to do. And I was like, yo, I'm gonna think for myself every fucking time. Don't tell me what to do. And police tell us what to do, and it interrupts the fun. That's why I hate that shit so much. It's like, I'm not hurting anyone. I'm not breaking any laws other than that you guys hate weed, but I'm not over there smoking in front of the kids. I'm not being aggressive. I'm not screaming. I'm not yelling. I'm not on Pericu. I'm not on some methamphetamines, and most of these guys are. I'm telling you, even right now, in my buddy's building, these guys are so high that they keep throwing rocks at the window to have the other guy come down and let him in. I mean, there's zombies walking around, and I come around the shop and there's needles and crack pipes and all these things, these real bad drugs and really bad crimes, and yet we're just a couple guys smoking some weed outside, and it was just like small amount of weed, you know what I mean? And I'm grateful I didn't have anything on me. But I have to think what's going on in me, you know, the amount of anxiety. My friends are like, great, now Mark's never going to hang out. He's going to stay inside. And we have these chances. You always get a choice and a chance every morning and every day that you're alive. And then to be paranoid, which my friend was like, hey, don't be paranoid. And which is easy for him to say because he's not. He's free. He's in his own country. I'm from America in a different country on overstay. That shit wasn't fun for me. And now they said, get the guy with the rainbow backpack. And I'm too bright. I'm too loud. I'm surprised they didn't notice the shirt, but that would have probably given away. They're like, you smell like weed. We've been doing this for 20 years. You smell like weed. You smell like weed. I'm like, that's my cologne, homie. It's called Chronic. And that wouldn't have been funny. You know what I mean? I didn't crack any jokes with them. I let them do whatever they had to do, and then they let me go. So I do still feel blessed and not stressed. Saints addiction, it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. It's going to be hard not to get stressed when you're fronted by fear. This is the whole reason I'm having this conversation is, do you let fear overtake you and overwhelm your brain and make you paranoid where you're going to stay inside all the time and go change your shirts or not wear the rainbow backpack so they can see me every time, or maybe even grab me next time and go, there he is, and maybe even prosecute me for a crime I didn't commit. And then I got to go into jail and go through all of it. And I've already done that. At 45 years old, I've already a felon in 3 different countries, all because of drug related charges. I'm not trying to be that guy. I'm just a guy that gets up in the morning with my motivation and talk about life and our mentality and mental health matters and growing my business and getting my brands out there. I risk it for the biscuit coming around there. It's a thing where I always seem to find the fringe edges of a government's rulings and the way that they operate instead of the way that I feel as a free human being. They call it free land. You know what I mean? Like if you're it's free man's laws here in Finland that you can make a fire and camp out anywhere because it's supposed to be something like free man or something, the free man law or something like that. I forget what it's called, but it's something like that where anybody could go survive off the land as a human being on this planet in this country. But man, if you're in the park, dude, they came around and then all of a sudden you have people that can stop you, that can arrest you, that can end all of your dreams. I hate that feeling. It's just one of those things that give me a lot of anxiety. So how I process it today is that I leave this note explaining that, yeah, they can grab you in Finland. They're pretty passive, but all of a sudden they were aggressive, and I didn't see that coming. And we were almost away from the situation, and then they fucking grabbed me, searched me, and I'm so grateful and lucky that I didn't have anything on me, because that whole situation would have been way guilty and way worse than it did. But sure, we got away, and sure, we went down to the next park, and sure, we did another spark. But I'm not hanging out in the major parks no more. I'm not hanging on the major streets. I want to go around all of those things and stay free. It's one of my biggest things, is to feel free in a country. And for the most part, I do feel free here. This is why I like coming here, because I can go when I please. No one really talks to anybody. Everybody kind of minds their own business, and you can be who you want to be. At least I like to think. And then sometimes you go into places like South Korea, and they don't feel that way. They were like, even this amount of much, even this, if I had this amount on me in Finland, I would have been in trouble, bro. But I didn't have anything on me, and even them grabbing the bag of the already vape weed, they're trying to smell it, and there was an empty jar, and that really sparked him. He looked up like he found Christmas morning, but it was an empty jar. So I'm just grateful that I wasn't arrested. My paperwork wasn't checked. I'm still here for maybe like another month trying to enjoy this before we get off to Vietnam. But that would have interrupted all my motherfucking plans and really fucked me all up. I'm not trying to go to international jails. That's not how I like to go around the world, as travel by saints. I like to go and be free and exist, even if I'm the weirdy beardy and I'm a dark-skinned man and I got this long beard. They still wouldn't fucking talk to me, and I don't want to talk or touch to any police, bro. That's just facts. And it woke me up, bro. So as I get grounded this morning, my new strategy is not to get paranoid, but to avoid major public places, and to not let it get to me that these kind of things might be an intimidation tactic, but it really did happen. And I got to be able to harness my fear and not let it take a hold of me and make me stop being who I am or what I want to be. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where the stimulus is real, but the reaction doesn't have to be. And that's what I was learning yesterday. It's like we all process stress differently and how we interpret things, like if something happens and it's trauma to us, we tend to relive it or hold it, and it inhibits us from being active. And that's why I keep telling people, you got to be motivation, join Weed Club. But you also got to be intrepid, and that means bravery, brave to be who you are, but also be smart about your shit. So my friend did warn me multiple times, at least 7 or 15 times, let's go to this other park. And they're like, we're going to just sit here. And sure as shit, he grabbed it, and it would have been all bad. I could have even been handing it to him, or 30 more seconds, and he would have been smoking, and they would have been behind him. So luckily I snuffed it out. They thought it was a joint. They were right, and I put it out, and we were leaving the park anyway, but they grabbed me, and I definitely got searched by police, and I was shocked because I thought they were always so passive. I've never had, in 15 years of coming here, any interaction with the cops, and they're asking me, you got any issues with you. Have you ever got in trouble with drugs before? I'm like, no, never. Well, not here, but every other country, it's just so bad. And I remember before I left Vegas, when the cops had me on top of the hood, the day before I left, I started smoking. He's like, "Are you smoking?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm smoking." And he's like, "In public?" I'm like, "I'm on my private land. I'm at my own home. So I'm gonna smoke while you try to run your paperwork because this is stressing me the fuck out." And I sure as did smoke my blunt. And I knew my rights, but everyone has different rules, and every country, just like South Korea, would remind me that this isn't America. You're in Korea, and I'm not in Korea right now. I'm in Finland, and their rules abide. So I got to be more vigilant and less cavalier about my freedom attitude and this anarchy that I wear, but it's also the attitude that I wear. Like I'm gonna be at this park. I'm always smoking at this park. Why not just chill here instead of being not lazy, getting off my ass and going down to the next park so I can spark and not cause any trouble with anyone. So my new strategy is to lay low, stay away from the public eye, don't keep anything on me no matter what, and keep it pushing because it's starting to get cold here, and it's about time that I go to a different country, and I go into Vietnam. And I don't think they legalize weed like Thailand, but I don't think it'll be that big of an issue anyway. Like, it's too much paperwork for them to process people and deal with everyone that smokes weed. It's like trying to stop everyone that smokes cigarettes. You would never be able to stop it. So I want the same laws as cigarettes. Like, if you're smoking a cigarette, I should be able to smoke a joint. Most of these people are basically smoking weed-filled cigarettes anyway. They're spliffs anyway. So it's just another form of control. The state looking at everybody and trying to stop their behaviors, but no one stops the police. No one polices the police. Matter of fact, the head of police, the guy was like the #1 police guy of the year, was the guy that was busting everybody here, and he was the one selling weed and hashish and all sorts of things. He would take it from the drug deals, and he was the biggest drug dealer in the county. So it's like even the head of police is involved with these drugs and making money, and it's all corrupt anyway. So trying to stop me, the weirdy beardy with my Join Weed Club shirt and my chronic cologne on, I don't know who they were trying to stop when I'm not on Perku. I'm not on methamphetamines. I don't have a crack pipe on me, and I didn't have any drugs on me. So, what they were trying to prove or how they're trying to stop it or what just happened, I'm not quite sure. My head was spinning yesterday. I took an early nap and woke up like 4 o'clock this morning, but luckily I went back to bed and got some real sleep. But shit fucked with me psychologically. And my friend, I even stood there. I'm like, I don't want to walk there. He's like, what? And I stood there for like a good 5 minutes. He's like, come on. And I felt like a dog. I was like, I'm not going, and they sure said, I'm just going to get a beer. And sure shit, when we went up, the cops went right by. I'm not sure if the same cops, but then they took a right behind us. And I'm like, dude, they can grab me at any moment. This is way too much anxiety for me. You've never been to South Korean prison. You've never spent a night in Ensenada prison like me, 3 days, 3 nights. And I was telling these stories literally the day before these things. And I want to let them bury it. My friends, like, that paranoia will bring them closer to you. And I'm a firm believer in manifestation. So, not to think of the worst things to happen, but to be smarter about my actions and to also share this stoner information as I travel the world so other people can learn. So before they go, they can hear about these stories or what's the price and what's the amount and what's it look like. I call it stoner information. If I were to go to this bus stop right now, the guy smoking weed is not the serial killer. And then I ask him, where'd you get it? And can I get some? And how much is it? And how much do you pay for it per gram? And what's the quality of it? And where's a good place to smoke? And it would have been nice stoner information to hear, hey, don't go to that park. And even though my friend did tell me we should go to Apple Park instead, I got a wake-up call yesterday. It was a lot of anxiety, and for the most part I was handling it, and we were giggling when we left away because it was just that nervous energy. When you're just so nervous, you giggle even though it's a scary situation. That actually happened. So we did go to the next park. We did spark and try to relax, but man, yesterday had me sleeping early, and I was so scared to be in this country or even to walk down the street, and sure shit, and then another police went by. We must have saw 3 police vans right after this, and I'm like, at any moment they can recapture me and this whole thing, and then I wouldn't be free. Well, they're like, hey, that didn't happen, so relax, don't get paranoid. But I'm like, it almost happened, so it scares me. So I'm being honest about my Finland police search that happened yesterday. I'm surprised they didn't see the Join We Club shirt that I was wearing. Probably not the best shirt to have when you're getting searched, and I'm so grateful. Oh, so grateful that I didn't have anything on me and I am free and I'm not waking up in a jail cell and being processed through a government system or being deported or any other of the worst things that could happen. Didn't happen, and now I'm in this reality where I am free under this baby blue skies, enjoying my smokes, not hurting anybody, and finding a way to not be paranoid about what happened to me yesterday, but to have an open mind so I can open opportunities and move forward away from this anxiety. So that's this morning's motivation. If you got anything out of this, you already know, like, share, and subscribe below. And as always, peace and love. But Chigathon, that means goodbye, not forever and finish. But I'll see you on the other side of your fear, which I had a lot of yesterday and still a little bit this morning, the other side of your excuses, and the other side of the world, because that's where I'll be. Peace. Join We Club. Sheesh. 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 That shit was scary. Why is this thing not closing for me?